Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I see a number of folks are joining, so we will get started here in just 1 or 2 minutes. And thank you all again for being here. Alrighty, good morning, everyone, and welcome to NGA's Energy Innovation Webinar Series. I'm thrilled to see so many of you taking the time to join this call over your lunch. I see a lot of friends as well as a number of folks I haven't had the chance to meet yet. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Christian Roderick. I am NGA's Public Affairs Director, and on behalf of all of NGA, thank you for being here. We're delighted to have you join us as we kick off this series of discussions designed to explore the transformative technologies and strategies shaping the future of energy. Northeast LDCs are at the forefront of our energy future. They are committed to supporting and achieving the ambitious climate and environmental goals that have been set across our region. From researching and investing in emerging energy fuels and technologies to adopting new strategies to support efficiency and emissions reductions, NGA members are leaders regionally and nationally. At NGA, our commitment is to foster an environment of collaboration and forward-thinking dialogue. This series reflects our dedication to supporting our members as they embrace innovative solutions that not only address today's energy challenges, but also pave the way for a resilient, sustainable future. I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to note that this series is an important prelude to our inaugural Energy Innovation Summit taking place September 25th and 26th in Springfield, Massachusetts. At this event, we will bring together thought leaders, industry experts, and innovators to delve deeper into the forces, technologies, and opportunities driving change in the energy sector. If you are interested in being involved or want to learn more, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. Now, as a reminder, this series will be taking place every other Wednesday at this same time throughout the spring. I hope you will continue to join us for more of these conversations. As we begin, if you have any questions, please use the chat function or the Q&A function. I'll be keeping an eye on both of those, and I'll do my best to make sure we address as many of those as we can at the end of the conversation. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce the very first speaker of our Energy Innovation Series, Grace Amao from VGS, who will be talking to us about the exciting work VGS is doing on heat pumps. Grace currently serves as the Vice President of Customer and Energy Services at VGS and brings with her a wealth of expertise in both energy innovation and working with customers. Grace, thank you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christian. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will try to make it worth your time. I am going to talk to you, as Christian mentioned, about VGS's work with heat pumps, and also just broadly about our thought process when it comes to innovation and how specifically to bring, we've thought about bringing our workforce along as we innovate and introduce not new product development, as well as actually introducing new products and new services to. I'm getting a question about, we have an attendee who can't hear me, so.
Grace, I can hear you, and it
You
looks like a
can.
few other folks. Paul,
Okay.
yeah, it seems like you might be the only one. I'm sorry, Paul. Grace, go ahead and we can try and workshop that with Paul on the side.
Great. Okay. Thank you. So how VGS has thought about upskilling and developing our workforce to be able to manage the work demands, the actual demands in the field that come with innovating and introducing new products and services to a traditional LDC. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and just give me a moment to do that. All right. Let's see. Is everyone able to see my screen?
We can see it.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, VGS in 2020 started the process of formalizing our innovation work. We were able to develop an innovation budget. We are very grateful to our regulators for working with us and for allowing this to happen. So we have a line item we have an innovation charge for our gas customers that funds the innovation team's work. And after we were able to make that development, we began the work of exploring new products. At the time, we looked at let's see, green hydrogen, and we were also looking at heat pumps, particularly hot water heat pumps, which are fairly similar to combustion fired heat pumps. And so that's where we started, and that was about 5 years ago. These were just the initial efforts to begin innovating. It took us several years to bring any of these ideas or concepts to market. So what does it mean to adapt to the energy evolution? Um, For us, it means responding to our changing industry. It's no surprise to anybody on this call that the gas industry has been changing, and we think at VGS that listening to our customers is an incredibly important part of that. So, based on current energy based on current energy policy, our customer feedback, and we actually did survey our customers specifically about what types of products they were wanting and about what types of products they were perhaps seeking out at through other sources aside from VGS. We gained some really great insight, and I'll go into that in more detail in a little bit. But through current energy policy and then our customer feedback and a desire to create diverse revenue streams outside of just selling and delivering gas, VGS has been focusing on skills development, and in that I mean skills development within our own workforce, embracing new technologies, and fostering an inclusive and adaptable culture within the organization. Um, the the culture has a lot to do with what you're delivering and how it feels to deliver those products out in your marketplace. It can be difficult, especially if you're a company that has employees who have been working in natural gas for decades and have been, working with this one type of product and the delivery system for that type of product. The idea of bringing in hybrid thermal equipment like heat pumps that are powered by electricity, the idea of looking at other types of gases, whether it's something, very different like green hydrogen or something associated like renewable natural gas can be challenging. So change management is an important part of innovating and evolving, and it's definitely not something to be it's not the area to gloss over or to hurry through. I think that being open and seeking the input of your workforce as you begin this work is going to serve you very well moving throughout. Because if your workforce hasn't bought in, you're going to have a hard time convincing customers to buy in. So we've been adding new products like heat pumps. We brought in our heat pump water heaters came in, we introduced them to the market in 2022. Renewable natural gas, we introduced in 2000, I believe, 18 to our portfolio. We started exploring geothermal in 2021. We also started exploring hydrogen technologies in 2021. And it wasn't until about 2022 that we started developing employee skill sets to be able to deliver some of these solutions. So you also want to give yourself adequate lead time. These changes and these product lines that are new to a company are not going to happen overnight. And again, having that employee comfort and having a cultural buy-in within your organization is just as important as any other part of the development process. It might be the most important. I mean, obviously you need to have a solid business plan and your financials need to need to work for your company's goals and missions, but having a sort of collective thought within your organization about what you're doing and where you're going, and not having the workforce be confused or feel that they're having to operate with unnecessary limited visibility, I should say. If people feel like you could tell them what the company wants to be doing, but you're choosing not to, in my experience, that's a missed opportunity. Having company-wide meetings, having forums, putting out directives about where the company is wanting to go and what you're thinking about in advance of making any actual decisions, can be a really positive step to take when it's managed responsibly. Um, We've also leaned into attracting diverse talent pools. Certainly, the gas industry is going to be attracting diverse talent pools anyhow. But for us at VGS, we wanted our workforce to represent a little bit more of what our customer base looks like. So we've been looking to diversify our technical employee base. It's been working out great, and I think that is very important in how you're showing up in your marketplace. If your customers can see a reflection of who they are in your workforce, it's going to endear you to them, and they're going to feel a connection to you. We offer flexible work arrangements to attract and retain talent. That we actually were doing that before COVID, but we've leaned into it a little bit more through COVID and afterward, and that also has helped us to diversify our talent pool. So we've also been thinking for years now about growth and scalability tactics, and that kind of harkens back to wanting to create a diversity of revenue streams, rather than just leaning on selling and delivering natural gas. We wanted to expand our decarbonized home service offerings to leverage the evolving market conditions. And what that means is that in Vermont, customers, well, they want natural gas, but they also want heat pumps. Some customers want to be able to buy local renewable natural gas. We listen to our customers' wants, and we try to develop and innovate based on what they're asking us for. We've also continued to create decarbonized options, and even like, for example, geothermal. It's taken us years to bring a geothermal project to market. We initially were met with some questions from our regulators, and our first proposal did not go, but we've kept with it, and we are on the cusp of delivering our first geothermal product to market, and that I'll speak a little bit about that in a moment also. So I guess I didn't put in my slide, but being resilient if something doesn't work the first time around, and maybe if you're not able to gain the permitting or the regulatory approval to do a project, don't let that turn you off of the idea of that product on the whole having a place in your business down the line. If it's something that you believe in, then it's worth continuing to work on and refine. And at the same time, growing your employee skills to meet the customer and market demand. Like I mentioned, that's something that it's good to get ahead of. So putting our field service technicians through trainings for like a 608 that would allow them to work on refrigerated equipment, since heat pumps have a refrigeration component, and working on getting an A1 or a C3 if necessary, so that they can work on electrical equipment and can pull from a panel. Those are the types of things that take time. You may need to expand your training budget if that wasn't, those types of certifications and licensures and trainings weren't part of your training budget in the past. You'll need to start that work early before you intend to launch any product to market. And you may want to start that work, years in advance. Although, of course, when you're training workforce, they need to be able to not only gain a certification and gain the skill set, but then they need to be able to do that work in order for those trainings to be meaningful. But it's always a balance of trying to innovate, but you just have to continue to put your best foot forward, stay in that mindset, and find solutions so that you can, so that you can be ready when the time is right for you. Um, and at the same time, we have found that it's important to assure our customers that we are still just as committed to delivering affordable energy in the form of natural gas and affordable thermal energy solutions. For VGS, we are, that means also delivering behind the meter solutions, which does make us a little bit different than many of you, because we have an in-house field service team, but I think most of you contract closely or have vendors who are delivering those thermal solutions, installing and servicing equipment. So although we may be slightly different at VGS because we have that team in-house as part of our full-time staff, I do think that the developing your partnerships with vendors and making sure that your vendors are continuing to evolve in the same ways that you want to will help you to meet your customer demand. Um, we've also continued to with the training by reskilling. So if there are, areas, let's say if we are noticing, that noticing some bandwidth for some of our operational staff, because we are not expanding our pipe infrastructure at the rapid rate that we had been in decades past, we are able to redirect some of those team members' time, and allow them to train, upskill, and reskill for new and emerging technologies. We've been leveraging our existing workforce for new opportunities in renewable natural gas, geothermal, and hybrid gas electrical systems. I say hybrid, we focus on hybrid versus just electrical at VGS because we at this point we've elected not to install heat pumps, not to sell or lease heat pumps to customers that do not have an auxiliary source of heat. In Vermont, most electricity is above ground. There can be really inclement weather, and we don't want to put our customers in a situation where they lose electricity and they have no other form of heat. We also focus in on digital skills, including for our field service technicians, including for our distribution and maintenance technicians. We want our workforce to have strong digital skills so that they can manage data, they can optimize the software systems that we provide to them, and they can provide better customer service. It also helps with efficiency. Our service technicians have their tablets and their phones in the field, and they're using their tablets and field service software to order parts and equipment, from their vans while they're in the middle of a work order. And they need to be able to do those types of things, those types of digital activities, and we put them through training until the point that they're comfortable doing that type of engaging in their work in that way. And that can take time, and it definitely is worth it. It's a confidence builder also for our technical workforce. We are constantly engaging in digital skill building with our office teams as well, just to make sure that we remain competitive in this digital world. We assess our current workforce capabilities, and we try to identify gaps. If there's an area that we can see we can build down on, that gives us an opportunity to get better. It's all about continuous improvement. So, and we use those areas where we feel like there might be room for improvement or room to build out. We use those areas to inform what we're going to bring in for training and development programs, or what we're going to where we're going to send our staff. And we've been also working this year a lot on creating roadmaps for, which actually we are printing for our technicians and for some of our other teams as well, giving them a roadmap for professional development for the next 5 years, so that they know what is to come. And also, when we are interviewing potential new hires, we can give them a very clear and organized snapshot of where they could go if they did choose to come join our team. We do we do a lot of employee engagement. We want to involve our employees in our evolution processes. So we engage employees in the selection, implementation, and evaluation of new technologies so that they have a sense of ownership and collaboration. They feel like they're part of this evolution that we are in, as opposed to feeling alienated from the evolution, which is a real miss. We don't want our employees to feel like they haven't had a say or haven't been consulted in where we're going as a company. Um, we are always trying, again, for continuous improvement. We're always trying to introduce efficiency. We actually have a continuous improvement key performance indicator we have for the past 3 years, where we engage in 3 to 5 continuous improvement activities or projects per year. Right now I think we're actually leading 7 continuous improvement projects. Some are not, some are a little bit more formal Kaizens. Others are just improvement projects that we are documenting and that we have, a small task team to carry out. And we have some project management professionals in-house. We have two, I am one, but I'm also very busy, so we have 2 others on staff that are able to manage these projects, and that is again a cultural shift, and it's been it's really been working. And we manage this with repetition, reminding our workforce in all the different ways that we and all the different channels that we can, that continuous improvement is the goal, and that looking at our processes doesn't mean that there was something that was wrong with it in the first place, but that we're always trying to be better. In doing this, we're able to gain time, reduce costs, and again, free up employees for new tasks and upskilling and development. We do a lot of data analytics. We use GIS. We employ a host of different digital technologies and solutions to analyze our current processes, find areas for where we can recommend efficiencies, and just trying to constantly improve operationally, and using data to make our decisions and to guide us, so that we're smart and strategic about the changes that we are making. And then again, back to the culture, I was really harping on this, but um, creating a culture that values our employees, offers flexibility, and promotes open communication. We try not to be siloed. We try in management and leadership to be very collaborative, to seek out employee feedback, and to create a culture of inclusion and diversity in all ways, and that includes intergenerational inclusion. There is so much that our most seasoned and tenured employees, so much incredible wisdom and perspective that they bring to the innovation and new product development process, and just bringing in thought partners, the newest hires and our youngest team members, as well as our most tenured, and having that open dialogue has really helped our innovate. It's helped us to succeed in bringing new products to bear. And again, I had mentioned the flexible work arrangements. Um, we business planning, always important. The financials, if something isn't going to be financially advantageous for your company, then it's probably not worth doing. Figuring out how you can align socially responsible goals, or perhaps new policy and legislation around energy with your business goals, that can be tricky, and it certainly has not been easy here at VGS, but it's again achievable. We always want to make sure that we're keeping our company's overall business strategy and decarbonization goals clear. We want them to be clear for our workforce. We want them to be clear for our customers. We have made some for the industry bold statements on our website, and through other areas of outreach that we're able to do to our peers, our regulators, and our customers. And we feel that that's important. That's our arrow, right? And we want to follow our arrow. We don't want to be so vague that nobody knows where we stand as a company, and that especially internally, that our team members don't know what we stand for. That can be challenging, but it is worth being confident and going forward with confidence. We also want to create clear pathways for employees to advance inside of the company and to take on new challenges. We have a lot of internal movement at VGS, and we have, I would say, at least a third of the employees that are in roles here at VGS have made a lateral move or have been promoted or have moved up from their introductory position. There's no stigma around that, and we find that we get a lot of value, and we're able to reduce churn and keep our employees for a long time, which is one of the most important business indicators that you can have. And I'd already mentioned change management as well, but I'll just touch upon implementing structured change management processes to support our workforce through transitions. That can often involve bringing in consultants. It's an investment to implement structured change management, but it's very important. I think it's one of the most important pieces to innovating successfully within a utility. And by implementing these strategies, we've ensured that our workforce is prepared for the energy changes that we're seeing right now, and can in fact thrive and succeed in a changing landscape. So I'm going to give you some specifics about how we've approached the innovation work that we've done here at VGS. This is I'm not saying that every company needs to follow suit with VGS, but just to give you a more detailed idea of how we've done our work, I wanted to run you through a high level snapshot of what our work in innovating over the past 4 or 5 years has looked like. So we've created a development process. It starts out with research. Some of our research is in-house, like creating a survey for our customers so that we can find out what products they're wanting us to offer. And some of it is external, like employing scientists to look at green hydrogen at offsite facilities for us. The research piece is the first piece. Once we've made a recommendation, we would build a business case. If we can't build a business case that could show profitability, then we are not ready to advance the development of a particular product. If you have built a business case and it does look like you want to move forward, it may be time to file with your regulators. That, of course, is an inter-team and interdepartmental effort. Very important for your legal team to be able to collaborate with whomever are the innovators in your company, as well as the operational staff, the engineering staff, of course, your finance team, and management in general, particularly management that handles the customer facing areas of the team. All of those voices are invaluable to work together to get your filings to the place where they're really correct and reflective of your desires. If you're able to successfully create a path to move a new product forward from a regulatory perspective, then you want to start evaluating specific products, because let's say that we're talking about heat pumps. What heat pumps are you going to sell? It's a great idea to sell heat pumps. Which models and makes specifically? You're going to have to go through pilot process of some sort, and you don't want to wait too long to figure that out. It creates a lot of when you wait, it creates a lot of I think angst for team members on the inside of the organization. Once you've made your product selections, then you can start to design your program, the actual rollout program that is going to bring this product to market. Uh, the designing of a program may be a place where you're going to need either contract or new hires whose job functions are new to your company. But if you bring in project managers to help you with new products, um, I, you want to make sure that they have access and open communication with all of the different areas of the program of your organization. Like I had mentioned earlier, working with the finance team, working with the marketing team, working with sales, working with engineering. You just need to create a collaborative experience so that you don't miss anything. Um, Once you've designed your program, you want to build the internal processes. Those can be creating new cost centers and, new cost centers financially, creating the charge codes for technicians and salespeople to use to place orders, designing a marketing campaign, and then you move on to internal training. This ideally would be going on to some degree from the time that you've achieved any regulatory approvals. But at some point, you're going to have to roll out a formal training program. And that is, again, so, you may need to bring in trainers that have not been within the company. And then you market your product and you roll it out. Once you're selling something, you need to evaluate the program performance. Make sure that you're on the right track and that you're maximizing your returns, and continue to have an innovative spirit at all times. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's usually progress that is the goal, not perfection. So when you notice something could be refined or could be improved, go for it and don't beat yourselves up. Innovation is a creative process, and again, it's progress over perfection.
Hey Grace, I got
Yes.
maybe I'm jumping ahead of you, so I apologize if I am
No
not.
problem.
I got a question on the side here
Yes.
asking, and I think it's relevant to that last slide you just had, asking
Yep.
about which products in the heat pump market are you evaluating? Is it gas heat pumps? Is it air source heat pumps? And do you have any information on how those evaluations are going so far?
Yes, absolutely. So we've evaluated lots of heat pump products in the market. Initially we used our suppliers to guide us in terms, as well as our field service technicians, many of whom have in-depth knowledge of the different brands and makes of heat pumps. But um, we we have evaluated and piloted everything from gas heat pumps to air source. Right now, we are piloting air to water, and we really use our pilot programs. The way that we do them, we've designed them to we first serve volunteers who actually may or may not, but usually do pay for the equipment themselves, and then they get the labor for free. It could be employees, it could be friends of the organization, just people that are close to our organization, who would be willing to iterate with us. So that's where we actually install equipment that we're considering. And if it doesn't go well, we may take that equipment out and install a different make of the same style of heat pump. And we will continue to iterate in that way. Some pilots, like right now, gas heat pumps are fairly expensive on a residential, for a residential implementation. So we did last year 3 gas heat pumps. We actually have 8 at our location, at our VGS location that we use here, but we installed 3 in a residential capacity last year. But for mini splits, we wanted to evaluate a half dozen different brands. And so we ended up, I think we ended up piloting and installing 14 at 14 locations. Some locations had up to 3 compressors and up to 5 heads inside of the location. Other locations were one-to-ones. So we really had a robust, there are so many different applications, for example, for mini splits. So we did a more robust piloting program for mini splits than we did for, say, heat pump water heaters or for gas heat pumps. With something more complex like geothermal or networked geothermal, um, it's not, it's not possible to pilot in this way because, you're talking about, capital costs that are going to run into the six figures. So the research and development piece for one pilot and one innovative product is not going to be the same as the next. But again, staying flexible, keeping optionality, and just trying to be practical about the ways that you can get the information and the experience, the installation experience, and the cost, the cost information that you need in order to make a decision about whether you want to offer this product in your market or not. Is always the goal. We just have to, we at VGS stay flexible about the way that we product our, I mean, that we pilot our products.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we've got
Yeah.
about 7 more minutes, so
Yes, yes. Well, I'll just run through quickly and then we can do Q&A. At VGS, we've changed a lot of our marketing. I'm right here showing you just an example of, a typical marketing ad that we were using at the holidays. We try to give a bit of intrigue to our market. We don't want to hammer anybody over the head or sound like we are being judgmental, or that people, or we don't want to sound like we don't want people to be using natural gas. And we try to employ a variety of marketing channels and or excuse me, hire a variety of marketing channels, everything from social media marketing to search engine optimization for search engines like Google. We do traditional print advertising. We even do door-to-door campaigning. We do it all, and then we evaluate what is delivering results for us. Let's see. I will. Actually, I'll go back to this. Designing programs to match demand. We also have been applying for grants. We've partnered with social service opportunities. We've partnered with state and federal opportunities. We applied for and won a Department of Energy whole home efficiency grant for low to moderate income weatherization and electrification upgrades last year in 2024. And we used that program we've used that program to design a networked geothermal loop and a new 40-unit PUD that's within our current area of service. So that's a really innovative use of our thought around how we can bring new products to bear. We have partners that will help us deliver this networked geothermal loop. We also were able to take an American Rescue Plan appropriation through the Vermont Department of Public Service to gain funding for two programs that will accelerate low to moderate income electrification in our area. The first was a switch and save program, which allowed for low-income Vermonters to receive a heat pump water heater at 100% cost coverage, and moderate income Vermonters could receive a heat pump water heater, brand new, and have 90% of those costs covered. We were fully subscribed. We had to design a program to manage the outreach and the finances and the way that we were going to deliver this program. We were able to do that, and we were able to allocate all of the money. And there are hundreds of Vermonters who now have new efficient heat pump water heaters. And we were also able to, to make that to make that work for VGS financially. In order to install heat pumps, many homes are going to need an electrical upgrade. Their panel won't be large enough, and we were able to get ARPA funds for those system upgrades as well. And, I just wanted to point out that, right now indicators are that the heat pump market will more than double by 2031. So, I don't think that this is technology that's going away. And if you think of geothermal in the same veins, I don't think that any of that is technology that's going away. So here's a picture of a couple of our service technicians installing heat pumps at one of our natural gas customers' homes. So finally, what stays the same? It's our commitment to our customers. It's our commitment to safety. It's our commitment to affordability, and it's our commitment to social responsibility. We as a company, we feel that our values are the same that they've always been, and we want our customers and our peers to know that. The products may grow, and we may have a more robust portfolio of products and services, but the tenets of our business and our goals are the same that they always have been. So, all right. Um,
Grace, thank you so much. This is fascinating. I wish we had more time to keep going through this and didn't have to rush there at the end. But you actually that last slide had prompted a question I was going to ask because I was curious about customer satisfaction surveys and satisfaction with the heat pumps. You mentioned the difficult climate y'all work there up in Vermont. Have you? It sounds like you're getting great reviews for the installation and the process. How are customers doing with using them? Are you getting solid feedback on the products?
We are, yeah. And we had assured our regulators, and one thing that was important to our regulators, and rightfully so, is that we are not just slamming in heat pumps. We come and we educate customers on set points, temperature set points to maximize the efficiency of the heat pump. We show them how to clean their filters or change their filters. We make sure that they understand that they need to have a cleaning no less than once a year and ideally twice a year. A cleaning of the compressor, and we help to create a thoughtful design for, in the case of residential heat pump installations. We also don't promise that customers are going to save money. We let them know that their equipment will be more efficient, but it really depends on how a customer. It depends on electrical rates, but it also depends on how a customer maintains their equipment and how they use their heat pump. We try to be really thoughtful, and we try to be very socially responsible in the way that we educate our customers. We're not just trying to make a sale, we're trying to educate customers about heat pump technology and hybrid solutions, hybrid thermal solutions. So I see a good question. Oh, let's see. We do, yes, yes, Jose, I did make that decision. We don't install heat pumps unless there's an auxiliary or secondary heat source. Um, there are a lot of opinions, but I think that it's been well received. There's a lot of opinions about what type of energy people should be using to heat and cool their homes. But in general, I think it's been well received by state and environmental groups because we can all agree that if a home does not have electricity and doesn't have adequate battery backup, people can be left with no heat source in very cold and inclement weather, and we see that happen every season here in Vermont. Not with VGS customers, but we haven't gotten a lot of blowback on that decision, thankfully. I think that people understand where we're coming from with that decision. Let's see. How moderate income customers are verified in our energy efficiency program? Yes, it is self-attestation. We've had an energy efficiency distribution utility since 1992, and that so we're pretty mature with our programs for serving low and moderate income customers with home solutions that are more traditional, like weatherization, which we believe in very much. And so our coordination and delivery of those programs is also mature. We have some coordinators that are, I would say, experts in gathering income verifications, but most of these programs are based on self-attestations. And I see a question on, do we intend on sharing or publishing cost change or emission reduction results from the data collected on these gas heat pump and air source heat pump installations? At this point, we don't have a broad plan for sharing emission reduction results. We do share efficiency savings results every year. We're in a demand resource plan through our distribution utility. And so those results are published. The savings that we are able to achieve every year, those are published and are available for anybody to look at.
Well, fantastic, Grace. Thank you so much. We're 2 minutes over. So I apologize for keeping folks late, but I really appreciate all the engagement at the end and that you hung around to take a few questions. I thought this was fascinating, and I really appreciate it. I will give one more shameless plug that this webinar series will be occurring every other Wednesday and will be culminating with an Energy Innovation Summit later this year. So if you have questions, please reach out. And Grace, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciated it.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for listening to all my words. Take care, everyone.